morning, and thank you for being willing to come and share your story with us for the Hearts of Freedom Project.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, we're happy to have you.
Yeah.
Let me begin by asking you your name, please.
My name is Thongsouk Vongphackdy.
Okay. And I will begin by asking you, what part of Laos did you come from?
I am from the capital, the Vientiane.
Okay, so you were born there?
Yeah, I was born there. Yeah.
And you grew up there?
I grew up there, yes.
Do you have memories of when you were an adolescent and a young adult of your life that you could share?
The life back then was very easy life. I enjoyed my teenage age and also the young adults. It's very, very enjoyable, and lots of fun back home. Yeah.
And so you had parents and brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have both parents, grandparents. I have three brothers, two brothers and one sister.
Okay.
In my family. Yeah.
Okay. When you were a young adult, did you work in Laos, or did you study?
Yes, I was working as a teacher at a teachers college, University of Sisavangpong.
Yeah.
I was also training or some of attending a language school, like I study Russian, Japanese. I love study languages.
Oh, okay. Did your mother and father work?
Yes, my mother doesn't work. She
looked after the
she looks after the house, and my father was working with the U.S. Embassy as a driver, as a driver at the U.S. Embassy. Like they call him back then, they call him U.S. 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so you spent some time going to school. You said you went to you pursue your studies to become a teacher.
Yes.
Okay. And did you complete your studies?
I complete my study.
Okay. And did you work as a teacher in Laos?
I work as a teacher, a primary school teacher for 3 years. After that, I went back to university for pursuing another education for further to be a secondary teacher, secondary school teacher.
Right.
Then I didn't teach after that. I work after graduate. I work at the university.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
What type of work did you do at the university?
I was in English. I don't know what to say. In French, they say surveillant. Something to look after the student in dormitory and also in classroom as well. Yes.
Right. Okay. So at one point, were you living there when there was a change in the regime in Laos?
Yes. When the regime was changed in 1974, I was still there. Prior to that change, I had received a bursary to go to Penang to study some kind of offset printing that was sponsored by UNESCO.
Okay.
And I was waiting for that in 1974, 1975. I was still there, working in the same teachers' college until 1977. Something happening because of the situation wasn't stable because of people get arrested from their home without knowing anything, without warning. So we don't know what's going to happen to our life and to our family.
Yeah.
And actually, it happened right after that. But because I was a teacher, so they don't look into that yet.
Okay.
So the teacher has nothing to do with politics, or so we just teach children. And later on, it seemed like nothing stable here. So I just decided in 1977, so we have to move away from the country.
Okay.
and look for something better life for our kids to grow up in a better life.
So were you married by then?
Yes, I was married. After the regime started to change, I got married just before that, just a little bit before that.
Okay. Did you have any children before you left Laos?
Yes, I had my daughter.
Okay.
She was a year and a half
Okay.
before we decided to leave the country.
So can you talk about what the experience was like making the decision to leave the country, please?
At that time, I said before that I was prepared to study abroad.
Yeah.
I was planning to attend the school in Russia. That at that time was Soviet Union.
Okay.
Under the government program. I was waiting for that. But all of a sudden, and at the same time I was waiting for a bursary to go to Penang to study offset printing. Then all of a sudden, during the wait times, the government changed, said that there is no official allowed to leave the country during this period of time. So that means my hope was dying down. So I have no hope, not even to study abroad to Russia. So my hope was dying down because I'm looking for, way to improve myself too.
Yes.
So at the same time, it seemed like our future has end. Because my friends around the neighborhood, we get away, get arrested, and we never know where they go. So we don't know. So we don't know when it's come to our time. So after that, I talked to my wife. My wife was born in Thailand. She was Thai, and also she was raised in Laos. So she still have parents in Thailand. So my first choice was, maybe we move to Thailand.
Right.
We move to Thailand. That's what the decision come. Yeah.
So at one point you made the decision and you decided you left Laos.
Yes.
Can you tell me how you went about doing that?
Because of my wife was Thai, she went to Thai embassy to get repatriate to Thailand.
Yeah,
repatriation to Thailand. I left before her,
Okay.
so I left like anybody else. We left. I was preparing to swim across the Mekong River at that time. At that time it was in June, after the school. University closed,
Okay.
so it was quiet in dormitory, so I don't have nothing to do. So I decided to leave the country in June. The Mekong River was filled with water at that time. It's very high water.
This was June 77, 1977?
1978. 1978. In June, I left. I swim across the Mekong River.
Okay.
By using the tire, the tire inner of the tire.
Yes.
So by
The inner tube
pumping
of the tire.
the air to the tire, so I just stay inside and hold my arm
Yes.
and swimming across the Mekong River
And did you go by yourself?
with my cousin.
Or with your cousin?
Two of us swim across the Mekong River.
Okay.
Then we end up get arrested by the Thai police.
Yes.
Then after that, they send us to a refugee camp in Nong Khai.
Okay. So when you arrive on the shore, were the police already there waiting for you?
No.
No?
What
happened?
We reached the shore we left at 11 p.m. and we got there midnight.
Okay.
And there was a farm, like a corn farm or maybe a tobacco farm at that time.
Yes.
So we reached the river, Mekong River there, a river bank at around, I think 1 o'clock. It took about two hours and a half to swim across there. By 1 o'clock we got to that border. And the farmer found us. Then he said, okay, why don't you come here? You are all wet. He was so nice. I don't even know what his name is. One day I was thinking go back to thank him, but I couldn't remember where it is.
Okay.
So he took us to his hut, warmed us a little bit, and we get warm from there. And later on in the morning, he just took us to the town,
Okay.
to the police.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get to the police station and they decided to arrest you?
No, because we into the country illegally.
Okay.
So they took us in detention
Okay.
for a night.
Oh.
For a night.
And was that at the police station?
At the police station.
Okay.
Then the next day they sent us to a refugee camp in Nong Khai.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did they send you there?
By the police jeep, police jeep.
Okay. So you and your cousin together?
Yes,
They sent
we went
you
together.
Nong Khai
To Nong Khai, yeah, refugee camp.
Okay.
At the camp, I had my another cousin. She was there before me. So we had no place to stay, but when I mentioned her name, and the official of the camp sent us to live with their hut. So they have like a room, like a partition.
Yes.
The whole long house and with partition dividing family to families.
Yes. Was your cousin by herself or was?
But she has a family.
Oh, she had a husband and children.
Husband and one child at that time.
Okay. So her husband and her child, you and your cousin were
Yes,
staying together?
yes. I think a few more people there. We were crammed in the small room, in that room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you describe what the experience was like to be in the Nong Khai?
In Nong Khai, the life was okay, but not okay because you don't see your future there.
No.
So you end up just eating and sleeping and doing nothing.
Okay.
And keep hoping one day you will be out of that camp.
Yes.
So during that time, I was also helping people fill out the form.
Okay.
At the time, there was so many application form applied to a certain country here and there, and I was helping my cousin. A few of them received the grant from father, Papa from France.
Okay.
I think Papa John, I forgot his last name.
Okay.
They got sponsor from him,
Okay.
like a support, sending some money to support for those who are orphan, mostly orphaned children get that kind of sponsorship from them.
Right. And you were filling out the forms in what language?
In French.
In French.
In
Okay.
French, yeah.
So you were comfortable with the French
Yes,
language?
yes. At the time, French was we spoke French. French is our second language in Laos at
Okay.
the time. Yes. English is another. So it's only those who look for study in English. But actually, we learn English, both English and French, at college.
Okay.
Depends on how you pick up to
Yeah.
that. Yes.
Yes. So you spent some time in the camp helping people to fill out their forms?
Yes.
To be able to leave and go
To leave,
a
yes.
different country?
Yes.
Do you recall how long you stayed in the Nong Khai?
I stayed in Nong Khai about 8 months there.
Okay.
8 months. After my wife came back to Thailand, and she was staying outside of the camp for a couple of months. Then at the first time I was thinking I would stay in Thailand to work
Yes.
as a French teacher at that time. I was
I
thinking
see.
about
Okay.
that. Then we decide, okay, no, it's not good to stay in Thailand. We better look for third country to go out here. So then after that, my wife was a hairdresser.
Okay.
We had a small hairdresser after she moved, stopped from Laos to Thailand. She opened up a shop, a little small shop there. Then,
Can I, before you continue, when you were in the refugee camp, your wife was staying somewhere else outside of the camp?
Yes.
Where was she staying? Do you know?
In Chiang Mai town.
Okay.
It's close to Nong Khai camp.
Okay.
Close to Nong Khai.
Was she staying with relatives?
By my daughter.
Okay.
By herself.
By herself with your daughter?
Yes.
Okay. And she would come and visit you at the camp?
Yes, with her mom.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Then I was ill. I was so sick at that time when she came. I felt like a homesick. I don't know. I was dizzy. Everything is like it. I have so much disease at that time.
Oh.
So my wife came to a refugee camp. Then after that, she decided no. She's gonna close the shop and come to as a refugee, come in and in the camp,
with you.
stay with me.
Okay.
Because of that, because of my illness.
Right.
So, yeah. Then at the same time, we discussed, should we stay in Thailand or move to a third country?
Yes.
Then we discussed, and the conclusion is, okay, we move, looking for a place to live, to stay, to go to a third country.
So can I ask you, when your wife came to stay with you in the refugee camp, did she and your child and you still stay with your cousin? Were you all together with your cousin?
Yes, at that time, 4 months after I came to the camp, she came. Then the first week, we stayed in the small room, camping, small room. Then later on, my uncle, who was there a long time, he built a hut, the big hut with the, like a Lao style hut. And he asked me, if you want, you can make a room on outside, like connect to his hut. Okay. So okay, I had a little bit of money because my wife was working at the hairdresser, and okay, that we have some money that we can build ourselves. So we connect to him. Just a small room, like a small, like small room, not even a house. Right. Just a small room, just for us to fill one bed and a little bit of kitchen to cook, and that's it.
Okay. So your wife came and stayed with you, and how many months would she had stayed there?
I stayed in the camp for 8 months.
And she joined you after?
Is that about 4? I'm not sure exactly. About 4 or 5 months she stayed.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So near the end of your stay in the refugee camp, when you were about to leave, were you talking with your wife about where it is that you wanted to go?
Yes. At the first thought, we were thinking of Canada was my first choice, because
Canada. Okay.
because I have a French professor. She lives in Quebec.
Okay.
That's what my first choice. I said I would love to come to Canada, because I know at least I know somebody here.
Yes.
Then when that's what my first application. So I just chose Canada.
So you met with Canadian officials?
Yes, yes. Then I filled up the application form and then sent to the Canadian commissioner.
Yeah.
Then Mr. Hamilton, I remember his name is Hamilton. He lived in Toronto, somewhere in Parkdale's area. And we met. I got interviewed by him and my brother's family, myself family, and my brother's family. At that time, he asked, it's very nice. He was very, very nice to us. Yeah. That's why I said, okay, my choice was perfect. I chose Canada.
Okay.
So he asked me, which city you want to live? Which province you want to live?
Okay.
Quebec or Ontario? Then I said, I speak French, I know French, but I want my kid to grow up and speak English. So I chose. Then he said, Ontario?
Yeah.
Toronto? I said, yes, Toronto.
Okay.
I didn't know about Toronto before, but he said Toronto is very, very nice country, very nice city. Then I chose Toronto.
What's your first choice?
My first choice.
Before we finish with the non-Kai camp, can you tell me what were the conditions like? Was it were you able to get food every day? What were the sanitary conditions like?
Sanitary condition, it's not really great, but you have to look after yourself.
Yes.
Our food, they have enough for you to keep you alive.
Okay.
I think once a week they give us the food like a rate, how many of you in your family, and the rice bag, how many kilo you get per week.
Yes.
There's certain kind of a rate you get there. Most of the time we eat like patu, and like a fish in English name. I don't know what's that name.
That's okay.
We have fish. We get once in a while eggs, some sugar, the salt, something like that. Okay. It's enough for family to feed, yes, to live in that.
Do you recall who was providing you with the food?
It's what United High Commissioner of Refugee, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally you meet with the Canadian immigration officials, and you make the decision that you want to come and live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So what happened after that? How did you leave the non-Kai camp to come to Canada?
After the interview, I think I was waiting for another five months. I don't know. I cannot remember exactly when I was interviewed, but right. I remember when I reached here, when I came in June. I think I was waiting for another 3 or 4 or 5 months. Okay. I'm not sure exactly there. Yeah. I just was waiting and keep track on the board. Keep looking at the board.
Yes.
So because anytime anybody who would leave the camp, they will post on the board there. So I visit that every day, every single day, and waiting for that. That's the only hope. What else I can have. Right. Then there was a rumor about, this is not true. They said to go to Canada, it's going to take you 3 years. Take 3 years because it's also, people don't like to go to Canada because it's up too cold. Okay. They said, no, it's okay, this is my choice. Right. I don't go I didn't apply to anybody else, any country else. I chose Canada, so I was waiting about. But actually it wasn't 3 years at all. It's about, like I said, about 3 or 4 months I was waiting. And my name was up. And I was up with excitement, so we celebrate a little bit before we board the bus to Bangkok. And also when we reached Bangkok, there were people saying that, okay, to go to Canada is too cold, why you choose Canada? I say it's okay, I chose it. It doesn't matter. People can live over there, I can live too. Yes. That's what my decision, so I chose Canada. Okay. So we stay in Bangkok, the detention campus for 3 days, I think. For 3 days. Okay. For 3 days.
Short stay.
Really short. And that's it. Okay. Our journey starts here when we came.
So on the 3rd day, you boarded a plane to fly to Canada?
Yes.
Okay. And the plane landed in?
Vancouver. That's our first stop in Vancouver.
Okay. Did you stay in Vancouver for some time?
No, overnight. Stay one night.
One night. Okay.
One night. And then we reached Toronto around 7 p.m.
The following day?
Following day.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I was greeted by Madame Susan at the airport.
The Toronto airport?
Airport.
And were you sponsored by?
At that time was a government sponsor. I came to Canada under the government sponsorship program. At that time there were 100 people at that time, okay. And I was the third family. I was the third family to to be selected to come first
Okay.
among 100 people.
Okay. So, but you said someone came to the airport to greet you and,
Yes.
and to pick you up.
Yes.
Okay. And then what happened after that, please?
I forgot the name of the official who picked me up at that night. So after he greeted us in the airport, he took us to the hotel at Jarvis and Charles Street. I think it's motel there.
Okay.
So it's paid by the government.
Yeah.
My family and my brother's family each has our own room with kitchen.
Okay.
It's ensuite at the time. I think we can cook in there.
Okay.
When I reached here, my daughter was only a year and a half, so she still need milk.
Okay.
So I asked the officer to find me the milk where I can get milk for my daughter. Then I also asked him to find my professor.
Okay.
And I was lucky. She has one cousin in Toronto.
Oh.
They came to greet me the next day.
Okay.
They came to my hotel the next day and they brought me milk. They bought me. I was so happy. I want to cry.
He brought you everything you need?
Everything I need.
Okay.
Sticky rice.
Yeah.
They don't know how to cook, but they asked me how do you cook. I said, I'll show you how to cook.
Okay.
So at that time, we can cook in the hotel. So.
Okay.
That's a happy come. And the next morning, when I get up in the morning, and myself and my brother walked to Canada Immigration on Jarvis and Dundas.
Okay.
We walked from the hotel there. So we got greeted by Madame Susi Wong.
Okay.
Susi Wong, yeah, she's a Chinese lady, very nice. She explained everything to us, how, like an orientation
Yeah.
to Canada, how to live our life here.
Yeah.
And my English at that time wasn't that great because I speak English with French accent.
Okay.
When I speak English, I have to repeat because they didn't understand what I said.
Okay.
So I have to repeat many times. Then I remember that he said that in Toronto there is a metro, like it's a streetcar,
Yes.
and you use only one ticket, one pass to connect your ticket, your bus to a streetcar.
Yeah.
Then I tried to use the first day. This is how there I am. I took a bus with my brother, two of us, and then we got a transfer ticket from the bus. We went down to Subway and I think it's Spadina and Bloor at the time, to connect the bus to Subway and Subway to bus again.
Yeah.
So I owned my ticket and showing it to the officer. But there's a barrier there.
Okay.
I cannot pass the barrier, and I asked him why I cannot pass. He said, no, come here, you gotta pay for it.
Oh.
So it's different route. So I didn't know at that time. So
Yes.
it's funny.
Yeah.
So we went down to Chinatown to buy some stuff that we need.
Yes.
And I was recommended not to go to Chinatown because it's too expensive there.
Oh, okay.
So we bought some cheap stuff there. And also the clothes, we went to Salvation Army to get some donation clothes from there.
Yeah.
That was very, very challenging experience. It's also, I was happy because it's like a newborn.
Yes.
I have my clothes, my new clothes, my new jacket. Not new, but it's used, but donated by Salvation
Yes,
Army.
yeah.
But it's new for us.
Yes.
So I was so happy. And the following day, I went back to immigration again to look for a job.
Okay.
At that time, I wasn't really want to work yet. I want to study. And the official said that you speak English and French, you can find a job any place. He's right.
Okay.
He gave me a security guard. I said I don't have the experience. Then he gave me, okay, how about work in a hotel like a waitress? bus boy at the time.
Okay.
So I took that job at a Four Seasons Hotel.
How old would you have been at that time?
28.
Okay.
I was 28 years old.
Okay.
I was working as bus boy, but I never used that kind of job in my life. So I didn't know how to carry the tray. I don't even know how to serve.
Okay.
So I have to watch them. And I got some orientation from the beginning, but still, I need more experience.
Yes.
Then I was staying there for 2 days. I asked my supervisor to change the job because can I work as a reception or any porters in a hotel? And she said, no, this kind of field, there is a union. You're going to be here at least a year to move to a different position within the hotel. Then I realized, oh, okay. To be honest, because I like the job, but I cannot do what I'm doing at that time.
Yes.
So I chose myself. I read the newspaper, look under classified ad, looking for job. There are so many jobs that's opening, and they need experience. And also, before in the factory, they said that blueprint reading, you're going to be able to read blueprint reading. Now, I don't know what was it. Then I've been to high school at night. At that time, I still stay in a hotel. We still stay in a hotel.
Okay.
Because within a week or 2 weeks.
Right.
Then I went to high school at that time, June, July. I think they opened summer class. No, I was wrong. In September, I went to high school to study blueprint reading, offered by Board of Education. So I read blueprint. Then after that, I was working for a steels company. You know the requirement there, you're going to be able to read blueprint and also read measurement tape. Okay. This is easy for us anyway. We read it before we read it. Yes. So I got a job there. At the time, job is open everywhere. I can choose in anywhere. Right. Hotel, factories, furniture, steel. It was way opening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you took the job working with blueprint.
With blueprint, yeah. So from June to September, now I have a place to live. We stay in a hotel for a month and a half, I think, a month and a half. Then we found a place to live somewhere in near Chinatown.
Was it an apartment?
Flat.
A flat, okay.
It's on Spadina Avenue on the second floor. Okay. On second floor. That was our first flat.
Was your spouse able to speak English and French?
No, my wife wasn't speaking English at all. Not even a single word.
Did she get an opportunity to learn English?
Yes. After I found a job, found a place to live. At that time, I was driving already, so I was driving at 3 months after that. I got my driver license. Okay. Because I need to travel to work. Yeah. My workplace is too far, like in Scarborough, so we live in Chinatown. Yes. So I had my first car was a Mustang. Then I was able to drive to work. And my wife was staying home and raising my daughter. Yes. Then we went to immigration again to get my wife to study English. She took a ESL class, but she never read and write English. It's very hard for her to remember, to start writing. Yes. So what happened was the immigration proposed her to, why don't you take a sewing machine course? Yes. And that's it. She picked sewing machine. She took, I think the study was 2 months and a half. training.
Okay.
After that, she got a job. She worked in a factory, sewing machine, sewing drapes
Okay.
in downtown. And life was getting a bit better now because I was driving, and my wife wasn't able to commute. She doesn't speak, doesn't know how to take a bus at a time.
Yeah.
So I have to drive her to work.
Okay.
But the bad thing was I was working a rotating shift.
Oh.
So if I'm day shift, it's okay, but when night shift, it's very hard for her.
Yes.
So now she has to study hard, learn how to study English. She picks word by word, but unable to write a complete sentence.
Okay.
By her, write her name, her address. But at that time, I was afraid that she get lost and I don't know how to find home.
Yes.
So I wrote her like a tag a little bit. My name is Udom, and her name is Udom Vongphackdy, and my address, my phone number, my husband's name,
Right.
telephone number. Carry all the time at that time.
Okay.
So to be safe.
Yes.
But gradually she picks up herself. She knows how to take the bus and take my daughter to kindergarten and before to head to work in the morning. So life getting better after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first year would have been like you just described it. You were living in the flat the first year in Canada. What was it like to deal with the change in weather? What was that like?
At the first year, it wasn't cold when we came, 1978, June. It wasn't cold. They said that it's too cold in Canada. People said too cold. You're gonna make sure you don't break your ear because it's gonna become ice. I said, really? And no, they were wrong because I was expecting to be that cold, but it wasn't that cold.
Okay.
So when you wear a jacket, you cover your head and your mouth, and that's it.
And you were okay.
I was wearing the long john, and it was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't cold that year. And next year, yes, it was very cold.
Okay.
1979
Yeah.
was very cold. But it wasn't that your ear become ice and break off your ear. No, it wasn't that cold.
You never got that.
We never got that. Like the experience was, wasn't that hard from the beginning. Really, I feel, I don't know. Maybe I adapt so fast in the life here.
Yeah.
I adapt so fast. Like I said, in 3 months I was driving already. So I traveled different town to towns. I know the area. I know the country I live. I know the town I live. 2 months, 3 months after that, people started coming. So we start to have a second family, a third family. Then I was greeted by people who live, who came, the former student who came here under the government sponsorship, and they study in Quebec, in Montreal. And they heard about us, so they also came from pedagogy school, teachers college. They heard about myself, and so they came to visit us. And then the association started at my flat, and Spadana Avenue, 363.5 Spadana Avenue. That's the first official head office of Lao Association of Ontario, in my flat, my room.
Residence.
Yes.
Okay.
And then 1979, gradually people come, so the association become bigger and bigger. In 1980, the whole influx of refugee came. That at that time was a very big amount of refugee. But I was already almost well established in the life of Canada.
So as Laotians arrived in Toronto, the association would help them?
Yes.
Okay.
In 1978, the association was already established. and because we were member of association of Canada. At that time, they called Lao Community of Canada, Lao Community of Canada. At that time, it's Lao Association of Canada. That's what they said, and we were part of that in 1978 until 1980. We changed from that name to Lao Association of Ontario.
Okay.
The reason because the government at that time they have a program, a sponsorship program, and also under the government, under the private group, church, and so on. And at the time, the government need us to help translate,
Yes.
to pick,
Right.
refugee from Thailand, from different camps to Canada to translate,
Yes.
to pick them. So the association has already established, and we have I was working night, so during daytime I'm free, so I did mostly pick up people from the airport and take them to the immigration office and help them, give them orientation and help them find a place to live, and so many things. So to adapt their life in Canada. So
you were a busy person.
yes. As a matter of fact, I was the first to establish the association. We were the first family in the association set up in my room, and also the president at the time was single. He was single, so we elect him. We chose him to be a president, and I was a treasurer. About 6 of us at that time, as a group, and we were growing up. The association grow because of the number of refugees, and also the government suggest to open more, to bring more refugees, bring more volunteer.
Yes.
So at that time, in 1980, we had already an office with the Vietnamese and Cambodian,
Okay.
under the I think Ministry of Culture and Citizenship. They have a program to help our association, and we were giving an office with a welcome house.
And that place was serving Vietnamese, Cambodians, and Laotians.
Yes, the Vietnamese association served their own Vietnamese, and we serve our own. But under the same program, we call CLV, Cambodian Lao Vietnam program, because of the interpretation and translation program under sponsored by government. So that's why we are housing in the same.
Yes.
We have the office in the same house, building. That's why the huge amounts of refugee came. In my flat, I remember we had about almost 60 people in that small room. We were cramped to help to greet them because everyone was so happy.
Yes.
We came to Canada without knowing each other. Now the government bring us together, and we celebrate that night to welcome them. Under Lao Association, where we didn't have a place to celebrate, so use my own room.
Yes.
It's quite a big room. It's a 1-bedroom, but kitchen in it.
Okay.
We have living room and kitchen in there, so it's enough for people to fill the room and also the outside.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Did the association get involved in holding celebrations or different activities for the Laotian?
Yes.
population?
After that, the association expand because people have been placed in different towns not only in Metro Toronto.
Yeah.
They have been played in surrounding city up to Windsor. So we had a program like we call outreach program. So at that time we had an office already. We had three workers, three staff working in the office. So one of them is outreach official. So every weekend we went out to visit family in Niagara Falls, Hamilton, in the city, and also we help them to create, to establish the association, like a self-help group.
Yes.
So that in case they need, so they have a place to call. So we were busy from 1980 until 1990, about 10 years from there. But I still work. I still am I still am
Today,
with the until now. 41 years ago, I still am actively work with the community.
Okay. And you're still the president of the
I still the
association?
president.
Okay. So the activities that the association would have been doing with the Laotians at the time, has that changed over time? Are you doing different things now as an association, or are you still doing the same types of things?
Yeah, gradually it changed from the way we thought before. At that time, the association established to help people find a place to live, to help them translate, document, and basic stuff, basic need at the time.
Yeah.
Now, as we grow, people get well established. So we were thinking of, okay, now it's a time for us to bring back our culture, to preserve our culture. Yeah. That's why we call it the classical Lao dancing, classical come up, and also we try to bring ourselves a better communicator, become like a leader of community. We have a program called leadership training program.
Yes.
So all the board of directors across the province. So we have also provincial conference to train ourselves how to become a leader, and also to know the program where the government, with the minister, the government give us some service. The service of the Ontario and also done by the federal government. Even now we still continue that. Last year we had a provincial conference, and we invite a professor from California, a doctor. He's also Laos, Dr. Prani Sananikon. So he came to train us to become a better leaders.
Okay.
That program still. So like I said, from basic to become like a professional.
Yes.
And also we want to look back to ourselves, who we are, and also what we want in the future. So we bring in youth community. So we set up a youth association under the shadow of the association. We have a youth leader. They're also doing the same as we do, but mostly in digital world than logic, than.
Yeah. What efforts is the association making to make sure that your culture remains vibrant and your cultural values, I'm assuming that you have certain types of celebrations during the year?
Yes.
How do you go about maintaining that?
Yes, New Year, Lao New Year is one of them.
Okay.
Lao New Year is, we are lucky because Lao women, they love dress Lao outfit, Lao traditional outfit.
Right.
So you can see from there, everywhere we go, we see the women dressed in their tradition custom. It symbolizes that there's a culture there. Yeah. So that's why we emphasize that women mostly dress on that specific day. Yes. In Lao custom, even ourselves. So that's one of them. And second of them is the language. Try to speak Lao to the family, to the kids. At least they understand. Most of them understand, but they cannot speak back, but it's still okay. And we also had a Lao class, Lao language class.
For the children?
For the children. Okay. That's provided by Board of Education of Toronto. Okay. We have that on Sunday. We also have a Lao radio, Lao language radio, under Fairchild Radio. Okay. So in terms of preserving the culture, we have a class, they call it a Lao traditional dancing class. Okay. That one is done, we have like a 3 years program, from the young age to middle and to young adult. We still, that program still.
It's still going on?
Yes, that's still. So we have been participate with the multicultural activity a lot under this one. Oh, beside that, we also be a member of Canadian Multicultural Council in Ontario. Okay. They call it CMC, right. Canadian Multicultural Council, Asian in Ontario. I was one of the founding members. Okay. So the goal is to promote our culture. CMC, for short, is a platform where most ethnic, especially from small country like us, to use that platform to promote our culture. So it's very good for us. People know who we are now. Yes. Back then, people didn't know where the Laos is. If I say that, where are you from? I say from Laos. They don't know. Where's Laos? I have to draw a map. Here, Thailand. Here's Cambodia. Here's Laos. Okay. And now people seem to understand where the Laos is.
Okay. So over the years, what happened to your family? Do you have more children?
I had one more child.
Okay.
One more. I have one son.
One son. One son.
I have one son.
Okay. So today, your son and your daughter are adults?
Yes, they are married. Okay. They have kids. They have their own family.
Okay. They pursued their education?
Yes, my daughter was paralegal. Okay. She's practiced paralegal, and my son is physiotherapist. I was lucky enough to help my son open a clinic. Okay. So we have my son has his own clinic. Okay. They're okay. So the life here for them, it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It turned out well.
Yeah, turned out well, yes.
Okay. So the association itself, is it called upon to, are there any occasions where individuals in the community ask the association to come and make presentations about the Laotian culture, the Laotian language, or do you have opportunities to work with other associations and other groups in Toronto to promote your culture?
Yes. Okay. We had this a lot. Besides CMC, we also being a member of Asian Pacific Committee. Okay. That's sponsored by the Toronto Police Board. Okay. They have some program to reach out to each community. We also participate with that. I was one of the board member of them. Okay. So many times we participate like a food fair, like an Asian food fair, yeah. Like a fashion show, like a dressing in our culture. and dancing, most of them. Many times that we participate with this, and also like there's a specific ethnic community like Malaysia, Chinese, Japanese, and Indians. We also bring our group to dance, to perform in that specific event.
Right.
There will be recently there was one happening with Tamil group. They organized some kind of a food fair, like a festival.
Right.
So we participate with that.
Okay.
That's a lot. So that's why the culture Lao traditional dancing class has to be in place to just for that purpose, so to promote our culture.
Right. Are you ever invited, or are there any occasions for you to meet with different types of groups, or let's say you were invited by a university or a college or a high school to come and talk about the history of your experience of leaving your country of origin, having to go to live in a refugee camp for some time, and finally arriving in Canada? Do you ever have opportunities to share your story with different people?
Not from university or college. I remember there was one University of Toronto. They create some, they call it country profile.
Okay.
That's a little booklet. I was invited by the professor of Toronto to help input whatever they wrote, and also what we want to input in there. Yeah. So our board director at that time, there were 5 of us participate in that profile. That's only one time at that time. Okay. The rest is from through our community, throughout the APCCC, like Asian Pacific Consultative Group.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, I was present that who we are and about Laos, and also with the Canadian Multicultural Asian in Ontario, yeah. We promote that who we are, and that's it. That's it.
Okay.
The rest, when we organize things like specifically for youth, I was also mentioned about who we are and about what we do. Yes. What is Lao is all about, what is our culture. I really want to promote that to youth, to younger generation to understand.
Yes.
So this still in the program, still in the program. We want to have another conference specifically for being allowed in the life in Canada and the life in Laos. We want a young generation to understand.
Right.
Yeah, there's still a program going on.
Do you still have friends or relatives that are today in Laos today?
I have my sister.
Okay. Do you ever have opportunities to communicate with her? Or?
Yes. Because of the technology today, we can talk to each other.
Yeah, you can Skype.
Yes. You can do mostly talking on messengers and online. We communicate. Not only my sister and my nephew, my niece. We can see each other.
Right.
So it's okay, not convenient.
Right. Since you've been in Canada, have you ever returned to Laos?
Yeah, I went back a few times actually.
Okay.
Not for fun, but mostly for my parents. When first my mother was sick, and after she passed away, okay. And the second my father was sick and he passed away. Okay. But not the whole family, just myself. I've been there for.
Okay.
I think it's time now to go as a family to go back. I want my kid to see, to know where the country of Laos is, to know. Right. To see where we live in that time.
Yes. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Soon. We'll be there soon. Yeah.
Do you have Anything else that you would like to share with us about your experience of being a refugee, leaving your country and coming to Canada? Do you have any ideas or stories or anything else that you'd like to share?
Yes, I want to share this with people who never have experience as a refugee and living abroad. First, don't be deterred by anybody who doesn't know and say things. You have to be yourself. For myself, I said that, like I said, I picked Canada. Canada is my first choice. It doesn't matter who say what. It's already from me, from my heart. So you have to be strong on that. It doesn't matter you change from being somebody or you change your lifestyle, but it's come from you.
Yes.
Being a refugee in a refugee camp in Thailand, it's not an easy task at all. So you're going to be, again, you have to know who you are and who you talk to. Same thing here too in Canada. Canada is an open country. Opportunity is there. So don't fall into anything that you don't want to. Yeah. You have to be yourself, and that's it. Just to be strong, and also Canada it's a country of opportunity. Anybody here, you have equal right. You want to study, it's open. Unlike Laos, if you want to study, you have no place to study over there. But here, it's open. Open university, open college, open high school. Yeah. And also, I was a hard-working person, and also I was study hard too. Not only working hard, I study hard. I went to college. I even took a university course in Canada too. Okay. And also, being a family or children of refugee, don't think you don't have the right. Don't think you don't have the opportunity. You learn from your parents. Your parents may have experience different from you, but your parents have been working hard to raise kids here in abroad, in the third country, and learn from their experience. Don't let multimedia, killing your hope. So it had to be. If your parents who don't speak English at all in the country, and if they can raise you up, that means they are also working hard for their life too. So in life, don't take anything easy or take for granted. You have to be serious. Now, as you know that Lao culture or Lao country, it's a small country. Not many people know in the world, but if we are strong as one to preserve our culture, if everyone do the same thing, that means one day we will be a country that been known by many people in the world, and also be a good civilians of the world, yes. as well as the country that you live. There is a proverb in Laos. They say that. It doesn't matter where you live. You have to be a good civilian of that citizens. I want to translate in English. They said that live in their country, in somebody's country, you have to do anything good for their country. Yes. That proverb I keep telling everyone that yes. Don't sit idle or sleep, do nothing. Do something to prove that you are a good person. That's what my proverb. That's what I want to share to the young generations. Yeah.
I don't want to forget your wife. What is your wife doing now? Is she still employed or?
It's a long story of my wife. Okay. After she worked at a sewing machine operator. I opened up a donut shop, so I have my wife work at a counter. She doesn't speak English. She learned English from meeting people every day, every
Yeah.
every hour there.
Right.
So she speaks English from there, from the donut shop. And we had a donut shop about 5 years, and because of her health. At that time in donut shop they allowed to smoke.
Oh.
She's allergic to smoke. She was coughing a lot.
Oh dear.
And we decided, okay, let's sell it. And after that, my wife didn't work for 5 years. Until she said, no, I'll get a boy. Kids are grown up now, they are on their own. So let's look for some work. Now she found a work in a factory at punch press machine operator.
Okay.
And she still work, but not the same company. She still work. She retired a few years ago, but still work. Still going to work, yeah.
And now she's fluent in English? She speaks English very well?
Some half fluent, but not fluent, but she's too short of wording.
Okay.
So she try to find a word too. But she's okay compared to the first day that she came.
Right.
Yeah. She drive.
Okay.
She drives. She was lucky to, I don't know, at that time when she wrote her driver license, there is a multiple choice at the time, right? And I taught my wife to remember the right answer is starting from G. Okay. Let's say ABC. Okay.
Yes.
The right answer of the question number 1 is letter B. So it starts from G. Let's say G.
Yes.
So she remember that. Okay, she passed on her second test, second try.
Okay.
It was amazing, really. People amazing. The president of Lao Association at that time was teasing on her. How can you pass? People who speak English cannot pass. Even 3-4 times you can pass. But my wife passed on second try.
Okay. Oh, good for her.
Now she drive.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
now,
I also want to ask you, your sister, who is in Laos, has she had opportunities to come and visit you in Canada?
yes, both my parents were here too.
Oh, they came to visit you as well.
I sponsor them to. I asked them, they don't want to leave, so it's too cold, so they don't want to stay. That's why my parents went home. After they went home, a year later they passed away.
Oh, okay.
And my sister came here 2 times
Oh, okay.
as a visitor. She stayed with us for 6 months and went home.
Okay.
Then the second time she was staying 3 months instead of 6 months.
Right.
And she went home by herself.
Oh.
She almost get lost on the during the transfer of the airplane,
Right.
the airline. She get lost. She's scared. After that, I never come back.
Okay.
Yeah, she's still living in Laos. I may want to visit her maybe this year, maybe December.
Right.
She was sick and paralyzed, and she was in a wheelchair now. So
Oh.
yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you.